Do you want to improve your English without feeling like you're in a boring classroom? Then listen carefully. Today's story is based on real life, full of action, emotion, and interesting situations. You'll pick up natural expressions, everyday vocabulary, and even some advanced grammar, all without even trying. That's the power of stories. So before we begin, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. We post new stories every single day. And at the end, let us know what you think in the comments. We love hearing from you. A day in the life of a billionaire in Monaco. My name is Daniel. I wasn't always rich. In fact, 10 years ago, I was sharing a small apartment with 2 roommates in a noisy part of London. I worked long hours, ate cheap sandwiches, and dreamed of something bigger. Now, I wake up in Monaco. This morning, I open my eyes to the soft sound of ocean waves. My apartment isn't just near the sea, it is the sea. Built right above the water, the floor of my living room is glass. When I walk across it barefoot, I can see fish swimming below me. I walked to the kitchen and made myself a quick espresso. I don't need a coffee machine that sings songs or takes voice commands. Just a simple shot of strong coffee. Old habits die hard. As I stepped out onto the balcony, the sun was already warming the city. Monaco is small, the second smallest country in the world, but everything here feels extra. The buildings are shiny, the cars are louder, and the people walk like the pavement belongs to them. A few minutes later, my driver pulled up in a black electric Rolls-Royce. He doesn't talk much, and I like that. We headed to Port Hercules. I had a meeting on my yacht, not because I enjoy showing off, but because it's quiet, and the view helps me think clearly. The streets were already full of expensive cars. Ferraris, Lamborghinis, and Bentleys, not just for special occasions. Here, they're normal. A guy in front of us was brushing his teeth while driving his McLaren. No joke. In Monaco, nobody's surprised. When we reached the yacht, I took off my shoes and walked barefoot on the teakwood. I like feeling connected to the earth, or in this case, the sea. My assistant, Clara, was already waiting with her tablet. She's smart, focused, and always 3 steps ahead of me. We have 2 calls this morning, she said. One with the tech investors from Singapore and one with the energy guys from Germany. Oh, and your mother wants to talk. That last part made me smile. No matter how big your world gets, your mom still matters most. We started the first meeting. It went well. Then the second. It went better. I wasn't always good at these things. I used to talk too fast, interrupt people, and try to sound smart. Now I just listen, ask questions, and speak when I have something useful to say. Funny how things change. After the meetings, Clara left to run some errands. I stayed on the yacht, lying on a sunbed looking at the sky. A helicopter passed above, probably someone heading to the casino or a private island nearby. For some people here, even driving is too slow. I was thinking about how strange life is. Just 10 years ago, I couldn't afford a weekend train ticket. Now I had 3 homes, a private jet, and a yacht. But the most valuable thing? Time. That's what money really buys, freedom to choose how you spend your day. At around 1 in the afternoon, I felt hungry. Not hungry for something fancy, just something real. I told my driver to take me to the old market. Most tourists don't even know it exists. Hidden behind the luxury shops, there's a small square with a few locals, some tiny cafes, and the smell of fresh herbs and grilled fish. I sat down at a table and ordered grilled sea bass with lemon. While I waited, an older man sat next to me. He looked like he had stories to tell. "You're not from here," he said with a smile. "No," I replied, "but I live here now." One of the new rich," he said, not in a rude way, just stating a fact. We talked for about 20 minutes. He told me he'd been living in Monaco since he was a boy. He remembered when it was quieter, less shiny, more real. Now, he said, everything was fast, expensive, and full of strangers. Before he left, he said something that stuck with me. You have money. That's good, but don't let money own you. You know what I mean. I nodded. I did know. After lunch, I walked through the small streets. Everything felt peaceful, almost too perfect. A world where everyone seems happy, or at least acts like they are. But under the surface, it's not all beautiful. Some people chase status more than joy. Some are here to hide. Some are just lost with full bank accounts. I returned to my apartment around 3 in the afternoon. My dog, Leo, was waiting. He's a golden retriever, loyal and full of energy. I took him for a walk along the coastline path. People smiled and said hello. That's one thing I like about Monaco. It's safe, clean, and you feel like you're in a small village, even though billionaires live next door. Later that evening, I had dinner plans. Not at a 5-star hotel, just at a friend's place. A cozy terrace, simple food, laughter, and no cameras. That's the kind of luxury I value now, being around people who don't care about what you have, but who you are. As the day ended, I sat on my balcony, watching the sea turn silver under the moonlight. I thought about how far I'd come, not just in money, but in mindset. In London, I work to survive. In Monaco, I try to live, and that makes all the difference. The next morning, I didn't wake up to an alarm. I haven't used one in years. Instead, I let the light in my room tell me it's time to get up. The windows in my apartment face east, and the sunlight slides in slowly across the glass floor. It's like nature's gentle way of saying, good morning. Leo, my dog, was already awake and wagging his tail. He's always full of energy in the morning. We went for a short walk around the marina. The air smelled of salt and fresh croissants from a bakery nearby. The owner knows Leo now. He always saves him a little biscuit. On our way back, I saw a young guy standing near the edge of the dock, looking at the yachts with wide eyes. I could tell he wasn't from Monaco. He was wearing a simple backpack and a worn-out hoodie. He noticed me and looked away quickly, almost embarrassed. Beautiful boats, huh? I said. He nodded. Yeah, I've never seen anything like this. We started talking. His name was Raphael, and he was from Brazil. He had just arrived in Europe and was traveling around with a friend. They were staying in Nice and came to Monaco for the day. People here live in another world, he said. I smiled. It looks that way, yeah. But trust me, the people in those boats still have problems. Different ones, but still problems. He looked surprised. What kind of problems? I paused. Pressure, trust, feeling like you always have to prove something, and sometimes loneliness. We talked for a bit more. I didn't tell him who I was. I just listened. He reminded me of myself years ago, full of questions, unsure of the future, but hungry for something better. Back at home, Clara had already organized the schedule for the day. She handed me a small envelope. What's this? I asked. An invitation. Prince's garden party. Saturday evening. I looked at it. Gold writing, official seal, the whole thing. I sighed. You don't want to go? She asked. I'd rather spend that evening with a book and a glass of wine. Clara laughed. You say that every time, and yet you always end up going. She was right. Events like that were part of the life now. Networking, being seen, staying connected. But they always felt a little fake to me. At noon, we had a short meeting at the Monaco Yacht Club. The building is a piece of art. White curves, huge windows, and a view over the harbor that could steal your breath. Inside, it's quiet, cold, clean. almost too perfect. The meeting was with a group of environmental investors. We were discussing ways to use cleaner energy in the Mediterranean. I try to put money into things that matter now. I've had enough fast cars and shiny toys. I want to support things that help the world breathe a little easier. After the meeting, I walked along the water, thinking about what Raphael had said. People here live in another world. It was true in a way. Monaco feels like a bubble. A beautiful, safe, clean bubble, but still a bubble. The real world is louder, messier, more unpredictable. And I miss that sometimes. Later that afternoon, I visited an art gallery up in the old town. Not many tourists know about it. It's run by a quiet woman in her 60s who paints landscapes of the sea. Not the sea as it looks, but how it feels. There's something emotional in her work. Peaceful, but not boring. Alive. She showed me a new piece she'd finished. Blue and gold, like the sky just before sunset. "What do you see?" she asked me. I looked at it for a moment. Calm. But underneath, something's moving. Something we can't see. She smiled. "That's the truth, isn't it?" That evening, I didn't have any meetings or events. For once, my calendar was blank. So I did something I hadn't done in years. I cooked dinner myself. I went to the market and picked up fresh vegetables, fish, and a bottle of local wine. In my kitchen, I turned on some jazz and took my time. Cooking is like therapy when you're not in a rush. Every sound, every smell, every detail pulls you into the moment. As the food simmered on the stove, I stood by the window. The lights of the city sparkled, reflecting off the water. From above, Monaco looks like a jewelry box full of little diamonds, shining quietly in the dark. Dinner was simple: grilled fish, lemon potatoes, a green salad. I poured a glass of wine and sat alone, just enjoying the silence. No phones, no noise, no people asking for something. Just me, my plate, and the sound of the sea outside. I thought about how different this is from what most people imagine. They think the life of a billionaire is just about parties, yachts, and champagne. Sure, that's part of it. But the real luxury, it's peace. It's freedom from noise. It's having space, not just physical, but emotional. Before going to bed, I opened a notebook where I sometimes write down ideas. Not business ideas, just thoughts. I wrote, "Don't forget where you came from. And don't get lost where you are." The next day started slowly. There was no rush, no meeting, no urgent message. I woke up, stretched my arms, and let the sunlight wash over me. Leo jumped onto the bed, tail wagging, ready to start the day. Some things never change. I had decided to do something unusual that day, leave Monaco. Not forever, of course. Just for a few hours. Sometimes, to appreciate a place, you need to step away from it. So I drove myself, no driver, no assistant, to a small town just across the border in France. It was quiet there. Normal. People were doing their shopping, chatting outside bakeries, sitting in cafes without sunglasses or designer watches. It reminded me of how I used to live before all of this. And strangely, I missed it. I sat at a little cafe and ordered a black coffee and a croissant. The waitress didn't recognize me. She didn't ask what I did or what I owned. She just smiled and brought my order. It felt human, simple. As I sat there, I noticed something. I wasn't the only one watching. A small boy at the next table kept staring at me. Not in a rude way, more like curiosity. After a few minutes, he walked over. "Are you someone famous?" he asked. I smiled. "Not really. Just someone who used to be a kid like you." He laughed and ran back to his mom. I stayed there for a while, reading a book I had brought. No emails, no calls, just the sound of birds, light wind, and quiet conversations in the background. It was a break from the noise of luxury. When I returned to Monaco in the afternoon, I felt different. More balanced. Maybe even more grounded. I had a video call scheduled with a group of young entrepreneurs from South Africa. They had an idea about mobile banking in rural areas. I didn't understand everything, but their passion was clear. I asked them questions, gave them honest advice, and promised to connect them with someone who could help. After the call, Clara asked if I wanted to attend a networking dinner at the Hotel de Paris that evening. I paused. No, I said. Not tonight. I think I've had enough networking for 1 week. Instead, I called Raphael, the traveler I had met by the docks the day before. I had saved his number after he sent me a message to say thank you for the chat. He sounded surprised when I invited him for dinner. You sure? He asked. I don't really fit in there. I used to feel the same, I told him. We met at a small Italian place, not too fancy, just good food and friendly people. He told me more about his journey, how he had worked part-time jobs to save money for this trip, how his parents had never left Brazil, and how he was trying to figure out what kind of life he wanted. You already started, I said. You're out here exploring. That's more than most people ever do. He looked thoughtful. Sometimes I wonder if it's all worth it. I see people like you and think, I'll never get there. I leaned forward. Don't try to get here, I said. Try to build something that matters to you. Success isn't about yachts and watches. It's about waking up and liking who you are. He smiled. I could tell the words landed. Later that night, I walked home through the quiet streets of Monaco. The city looks different at night, slower, softer. The lights reflect off the sea, and the air smells of warm stone and sea salt. I thought about how this life I live is both a gift and a test. People think wealth solves everything. It doesn't. It just gives you more choices. The hard part is knowing which ones to make. Back at home, I stood on the balcony with Leo lying beside me. I looked out at the water, at the yachts, at the hills behind the city. I used to think this view was the goal, the reward. But now I know the real reward is growth. The fact that I'm still learning, still adjusting, still trying to stay human in a place that can make people forget what matters. Before going to bed, I wrote one more note in my journal. Stay real. Stay curious. Stay kind. Everything else can wait. And that's the end of our story. You probably didn't notice, but over these 3 parts, you learned how to use different past tenses smoothly, combine emotional language with simple narration, talk about real life with balance and honesty, use deeper sentence structures in a natural, conversational way. And you did it without feeling like you were studying. That's the power of storytelling. So if you enjoyed this, please like this video, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. We post a new story every single day to help you learn English in the most fun, natural way. And now tell us, what did you learn from Daniel's story? What part made you think the most? Share your thoughts in the comments. We read all of them. See you tomorrow for the next adventure.